Yes, sir. It is 10 a.m. and we do have a quorum. All commissioners are present.
Okay, please go ahead and get the meeting going.
Okay, this is Commission Secretary Cassie Goodwin. Today is February 11th, 2021. This is the 684th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place via Google Meet. I will go ahead and proceed with the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge.
Present.
Commissioner Garay.
Present.
Commissioner Hover.
Present.
Commissioner Profiter.
Present.
Thank you. Everybody's accounted for and roll call's done, sir. It's yours.
All right, thank you. At this point in time, I will call the Arizona Racing Commission 684th regular meeting to order. Just as a reminder, the chat area is part of the official meeting, and as such, proper meeting etiquette is expected. And I would graciously, if any of you will be addressing the commission today, to please avoid using the cat filter. And as many of you know, I have been involved with Greyhound adoption for a number of years. I want to first give a big thank you to Aaron and Fred with American Greyhound Racing, Delaware North, for all your assistance and help. And also thank you to Alicia from Tucson Greyhound Park. And I also can't forget Stacy and Frank from the Turf Paradise backside for their assistance. My hope is the future will be able to, with your assistance and help, we'll be able to make a big impact for Greyhound adoption, the Injured Jockey Fund, and homelessness. With that, for the first item is B, executive session for items 1, 2, and 3. If there are no objections, I would like to move this to the end of the meeting, as we have many today attending that it's a live race day at Turf Paradise, and would like to get them through as quickly as possible so they can attend to their horses. Is there any objections to moving it to after item D? All right, hearing none, we will move on to item C1. Election of Racing Commission officers for 2021. We do this every year where we select a new chairman and vice chairman. So this will be 2 motions, and at this point in time, I would like to go ahead and make the first motion. It was my pleasure to appoint, or would ask that we appoint Chuck Coolidge as our new chairman of the Racing Commission. Motion is on the floor. Okay, we motion a second. Madam Secretary?
I'm sorry, who made that second, please?
Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So the motion's been made by Commissioner Garay, been seconded by Commissioner Profiter. Roll call is Commissioner Coolidge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion's been made and carries. Congratulations, Commissioner Coolidge. You are now chair of the Racing Commission.
Thank you.
And at this point in time, I will turn the chair over to Chairman Coolidge, and we still have one item on that needs a motion for vice chair.
I would go ahead and move that we appoint Rory Garay as vice chair.
I second that.
Thank you. That second was made by Commissioner Hover. Roll call is Commissioner Coolidge.
Yes.
Commissioner Garay.
Yes.
Commissioner Hover.
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Garay. You are now vice chair.
Move on to action item C2, request for American Greyhound Racing for a 3-year permit renewal for calendar years 2020, 2021, and 2022. I believe we have Mr. Feinberg signed up to speak for this.
If necessary, correct.
This is unnecessary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, I would just like to thank Greg Stiles, Director Casillas, for their efforts in this process and helping finalize all the documents that were presented to you for our permit application. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Thank you.
Do I have any questions or comments from the fellow commissioners?
I actually do have one question, and I think Mr. Stiles may be able to answer that. I'm seeing that it's for 2020, 2021, and 2022. Is there a reason why we're just now getting to this, and is there a possibility in the future we'll be able to be more timely on these?
Yes, Vice Chair Gray, this is Greg Stiles. Yes, I would qualify this as COVID-19 related, okay, as we know that we were shut down for a while, as well as the Racing Commission as well. So I do expect to be a little bit more timely in future permits.
Okay. Thank you.
Do any of the fellow commissioners need to go into executive session with any legal questions? Great. That said, I move that we go ahead and approve the American Greyhound Racing for a 3-year permit renewal for calendar years 2020, 2021, and 2022.
I'll second that.
Thank you. You ready for the roll call, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge? Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes?
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Okay, the motion is made and carried to approve this 3-year permit for American Greyhound Racing for years 2020, 2021, and 2022.
We'll move into action item C3, simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U. That's A, Arizona Downs. We'll go ahead and pull up that. While I'm pulling it up, Mr. Stiles, do you have any updates on your end from that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, what you have before you for both permittees is just the Fauner Park agreement. I've been having meetings with both permittees, Dave Johnson for Turf Paradise as well as Joe Longo who represents Arizona Downs. The only one that you have in your packet today is Fauner Park for the contract. I was able to receive from Turf Paradise late last night the Hawthorne contract, but we haven't had time to go through it. So at this point in time, the Hawthorne and Remington Park contracts are not in for both permittees.
Hawthorne and Remington for both permittees?
Again, that's correct. They're not presented before you. Again, late last night, about 4 o'clock, Turf Paradise did submit the Hawthorne one, but we were not able to turn that around for you.
Understood. And as of last meeting, I think we did set the precedent of when they needed to get those submitted, so we'll push those to the next meeting. Otherwise, looks good on our end. Any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners?
I'm good on my end.
As far as Fauner Park, looks like everything's in order here. Fees look the same, and everything looks good on my end. So
I would move for Arizona Downs to approve Fauner Park pursuant to the agreements and ARS Statute 5-112U for Fauner Park.
Thank you. So I have a motion by Vice Chair Garay and second by Chair Coolidge.
Second.
I'm sorry, Ms. Profiter, were you seconding?
Stacy, Cassie, you're on mute.
Sorry. So we have a second by Commissioner Profiter. Thank you. So the motion's been made and seconded to approve Fauner Park for Arizona Downs simulcast. I'll go with the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge?
yes.
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes?
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
We'll move to item C3, and that would be on Turf Paradise and Fauner Park. Any comments or motions by my fellow commissioners?
I would go ahead and move to approve pursuant to Arizona Statute 5-112 Fauner Park for Turf Paradise.
Move to approve.
Yes, Fauner Park.
Second that?
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice Chair Gray and seconded by Commissioner Hover. Shall I proceed with roll call, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter? I'm sorry, Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that motion's been made and carries for Fauner Park for Turf Paradise.
We will move to item C4, simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA Section 3004A3. That's Arizona Downs. Item 1 is Fauner Park, Hawthorne, and Remington. I am looking at the packet here. It looks like we're missing a fair amount, but Mr. Stiles, I'll hand it off to you to give us any additional information you have.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the Racing Commission, regarding Arizona Downs, I did receive this morning an approval, I believe, from the Nebraska Racing Commission or the horsemen there. I also have received a letter last night from the Arizona HBPA in which they have extended their simulcast import approval through the Fauner Park race meet, as well as other race meets that they'll be bringing to you in future commission meetings. There was some discussion last meeting, that import approval was only good through February 15th. However, again, the AZHBPA has granted approval for Arizona Downs to receive signals throughout the regular meets that they will bring into you.
That said, we're still missing a number of other items for the simulcast approval, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Right now, I do not have a complete Nebraska Racing Commission approval. I do expect to have that shortly.
Which one is Nebraska for? Is that for Hawthorne or Remington?
That's for Fauner Park. Fauner Park, yeah, is in Grand Island.
Okay.
Any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners? So the concern that I have on this, and we addressed it last meeting, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse on it, is the lack of information that we're receiving before, we are being asked to approve these without any of the proper documentation. It's a big concern for myself, as I'm sure it is the department as a whole. So for us to approve these is difficult. That said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move to approve Arizona Downs, Fauner Park, Hawthorne, and Remington. All those signals conditioned on the fact that we receive all prerequisite approvals for the IHA prior to the signal being accepted. And I would ask that the department make the determination if the approvals are appropriate so the permittees don't see any delay in having to come back to the commission for further approval. And if any approvals are missing, the signal will not be turned on.
Chair Coolidge, may I interject? This is Kelly Wagner.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just note that for the Hawthorne and Remington signals, no contract has been provided for the commission to review in the 5112U review provisions.
Since we're talking contracts, I'd go ahead and move. We're going to move to go to executive session, please.
Thank you. Motion's been made by Chair Coolidge and seconded by Commissioner Profiter to go into executive session. Roll call, it would be Commissioner Coolidge.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Hover.
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter.
Yes.
Okay, it is 10:14 a.m. We are recessing this first open session to go into executive session on this matter. Following is the second open session of the Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place February 11th, 2021, and it is being held via Google Meeting. session?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Time is 10:22 a.m. We are back in reconvening the open session of the 684th Arizona Racing Commission meeting held February 11th, 2021 via Google Meeting. This is Commission Secretary Cassie Goodwin. I will go ahead and take the roll. Commissioner Coolidge.
Present.
Commissioner Gray.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Hover.
Present.
Commissioner Profiter. Thank you. We have our quorum, sir. It's yours.
Thank you, ma'am. So after some deliberation, it looks as though the motion that I made previously it couldn't even happen under a conditional. So I'm going to remake the motion. I would move to approve the Arizona Downs Fawner Park signal conditioned on the fact that we receive all requisite approvals per the IHA prior to the signal being accepted. And I would ask that the department make the determination if the approvals are appropriate so the permittees don't see any delay coming back to the commission. And if any approvals are missing, that signal will not be turned on.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to conditionally approve the Fawner Park signal. And that was made by Chair Coolidge and seconded by Vice Chair Gray. So calling for the roll, Commissioner Coolidge.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Hover.
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries.
We'll move to item C4B, Turf Paradise Fawner Park. Before I move forward, do I have any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners on this one?
I'm just looking at it. It looks like that we're in the same boat here as they were with Arizona Downs. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That said, I will move to approve the Turf Paradise Fawner Park signal conditioned on the fact that we received all requisite approvals per the IHA prior to the signal being accepted. I ask that the department make the determination if the approvals are appropriate so the permittees don't see any delay coming back to the commission. If any approvals are missing, that signal will not be turned on.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion to conditionally approve the Fawner Park signal for Turf Paradise, seconded by Commissioner Gray. So I will do the roll. Commissioner Coolidge.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Hover.
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
Move to item C5, American Greyhound Racing Simulcast Import Arena Leisure Limited, ARS 5-112U. Do I have anyone signed to speak? Mr. Feinberg, do you have any comments to add to this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, again, just like to thank Greg Stiles and Director Casillas for their efforts in getting this item on the agenda. This is essentially the same content as Sports Information Services, SIS, which was approved for us in November, and for Tucson Greyhound Park in January. These signals originate in the United Kingdom. This is a USB pool, meaning that all wagers must originate and commingle and stay within the U.S. This obviously allows for audit controls to be in place from the tote companies. We're able to furnish any reports for the department that they're through American-based tote companies, Amtote and United Tote. Additionally, the signal is available from U.S.-based provider Roberts Communications Network for audio-visual. And appreciate your consideration on this and happy to answer any questions you may have.
I do have one question, Mr. Chair, for Mr. Stiles. You are verifying when you look at these that they do have regulatory efforts in place and also Greyhound adoption efforts.
Yes, Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Gray, I've done some background investigation on this particular signal, and via their websites, they do have Greyhound rehoming adoption programs, and they each have adjusted to COVID-19 protocols. So I would say that they have a pretty extensive effort in that arena.
Okay, excellent. I think just for going forward, one item I would, and I'm very okay with this one, but for going forward, I know we'll probably have more coming up. I would just like to also ensure that whatever countries we're looking at, that they may have standards in place to prevent the shipping of greyhounds to places like China or Vietnam, where the greyhounds typically aren't taken care of very well in those places. And with that, I would like to make a motion to approve the American Greyhound Racing Simulcast Import Arena Leisure Limited Signal.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Go ahead, Councilor Cassidy.
Thank you. Motion made by Vice Chair Gray to approve the signal. Commissioner Hover seconded. Roll call. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. And just letting you know, Chair Coolidge, that we do have a raised hand. I believe it's probably for the prior matter from Dave Johnson.
Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, Dave Johnson from Turf Paradise. Yeah, I did try to, I got my hand up for the previous items, but I guess it just didn't get recognized in time. I just want to, again, bring this to everybody's attention. The racetracks in Arizona are just at the mercy of these racetracks that are in different states. And, what I can tell you is we have been all over Hawthorne just begging them to get these contracts to us, but they had to get through their legal department. We just got ours last night, and it did get sent over to the department. And Remington Park hasn't even sent out their contract yet. And again, it just really puts the racetracks at a huge disadvantage, the racetracks in Arizona, because, for 20 years we've been able to get these signals and get everything taken care of without any issues. And without this signal at the tracks and at the OTBs, the customers are just not going to come anymore. So I'm just pleading to the commission here to, find a way to let's make this work so that it's not so hard on you. I know you have to compare them, but there's nothing more that we could possibly do in a situation like this. So, again, we've done it for 20 years. There's never been any issues, and I'm just really worried about hurting the industry, people not showing up because they can't fit on the track that is running down, running at another place.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I will say that the department as a whole, and I know the commission, was trying to move mountains this last week to accommodate both racetracks and those items. I will see if we can work together to see if we can make something happen in the event that those contracts do come through. We see where you're coming from, but appreciate that. We have a process that we have to follow as well.
Mr. Chair, also, as somebody who's been on the commission for 9 years, Dave is correct. We didn't have these issues, I think, until, the statutes got changed for ARS 5-112-U. So I would just maybe encourage some of the folks out there, the legislature session is open, there may be a way to work on this, because, this started happening once that bill got passed a couple of years ago, and we're stuck at the mercy of statute.
Thanks, Mr. Vice Chair. We will move to item C6, Turf Paradise Teletrack Signal to Arizona Downs per ARS 5-112T. Looks like I have Tom and Dave Author signed if they want to say anything.
This is Dave Author. We worked, can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We worked out a deal with Turf Paradise, and we will start getting the Turf Paradise signal at the Arizona Downs OTBs. As far as we're concerned, you can take this off the agenda.
Understood. Any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners?
That's good news to hear, Mr. Chair.
I agree, and I commend both tracks for working together to get that one figured out. We'll move to item C7, notice of hearing on Arizona Downs permit application pursuant to ARS 5-108.01.
Chair Coolidge, before you move on to that next item, 5112T does require commission review of all contracts concerning in-state simulcast. I would ask that the commission review that before it moves forward to the next item.
Again, since we're talking contracts, I'll move that we go to executive session.
A second?
Sorry. Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Coolidge to go into executive session. Commissioner Hover seconded. And I will do the roll on that. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. It is 10:34 a.m. and we are going to recess the second open session and go into executive session. Following is the third open session of the 684th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place February 11th, 2021 via Google Meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, we have reconvened the 684th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place February 11th, 2021. The time is 10:49 a.m. Commission Secretary Cassie Goodwin will take roll. Commissioner Coolidge?
Present.
Commissioner Gray?
Present.
Commissioner Hover?
Present.
Commissioner Profiter?
Present.
Thank you. We have our quorum, sir, at your meeting.
Thank you. After a fair amount of deliberation, the commission as a whole finds itself yet again looking for a special exception to these racetracks. And on one hand, I understand having the simulcast signals not being available when dealing with other racetracks. And I'll speak for myself that it's immensely frustrating that the two racetracks within our own state wait until late night hours before a commission hearing to go ahead and submit a deposit contract to an amended contract from years ago when you have plenty of time to do so. I'll open it up to any other commissioners if anyone has any comments or questions.
Mr. Chair, I would agree that it is frustrating, especially in state, that it's the night before that this gets done, and we're just now getting the letter to have reviewed for today's meeting. Again, we would respectfully request that we be given more time to review these things so that we know when we're making a motion or voting on something, we're doing so in good faith. Again, it's just frustrating. And I'll close and see if any other commissioners have something to say.
Other than agreeing with your comment, I have nothing to add.
With that said, the motion I'm about to make is solely because of the industry as a whole and the horsemen behind it. I would move that we approve the Turf Paradise teletrack signal to Arizona Downs per ARS 5-112T.
Mr. Chair, I will second that based on having reviewed the letter that they signed last night and that the previous contract was signed before the legislation had gone in place. So with that, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second to approve the signal agreement, I'll do roll. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
Move to item C7. That's a notice of hearing on Arizona Downs permit application pursuant to ARS 5-10801. As it's just a notice, I'll open it up to Rudy or Cassie to speak about it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is just informational to let the Commission know that Arizona Downs financial review has been completed by our contracted outside financial consultant, and our consultant is here to provide just a brief update of findings. We will be issuing a notice of hearing for next month's Commission meeting, and that will be held then, and full details will be provided to the Commission at that time. So Mr. Linscott is here if the Commission has any questions or wants a brief summary update.
Director Casillas, I would interject if I may, Chair Coolidge. This matter is simply on for action item, and I would direct the Commission to look at the informational aspect of the agenda where further details can be learned at that point, but at least for the Commission potential action, it's whether to direct or not direct the department as far as providing notice for permit review.
Thank you, ma'am. I have Tom and Dave Author signed if necessary.
We don't have anything to add. I understood the same thing that the council did, that there was just an announcement that there would be a meeting on this topic next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right, so is there, Mr. Chair, is there anything we need to do on this one? Because I do see under information reports an item for this to be for the information to be brought up at that time.
No, sir. We're going to go ahead and move to item D in the information reports. We'll move it over to Greg Stiles for the track safety report.
Mr. Chairman Coolidge, members of the Racing Commission, we are now in our 6th week of racing at Turf Paradise, and the Permittee and horsemen continue to work together to make the backside safer. The division gets copies of all work orders from the HBPA when they are sent to turf management, and there are many, and with the size of the backside. Backside work orders are mainly concerning restroom maintenance, cleaning and supplies. There are additional barn water issues and power issues, as well as street sweeping and other maintenance items. With the last storm, Turf had what was described as a microburst on the backside that caused damage to the backside. A fence around the training track was damaged, as well as some metal pins. This week on a walkthrough, staff noticed that some damaged pins were still not removed, and there was a metal roof debris that still needed to be dealt with. However, the training track fencing was repaired as quickly as possible. And also last month, I led you down that I informed you that the paddock had a significant portion of railing that was down and needed to be repaired, and that was done by Turf Paradise. In terms of COVID-19 protocols, we have not had any reports from Turf Paradise management of any outbreaks. We met last month to discuss protocols with management and the horsemen, and were able to ease some of the owner restrictions regarding winner's circle photos. I want to mention that the men and women back there who take care of the horses are maintaining COVID-19 protocols, including mask wearing and social distancing. All of these people should be commended for their efforts to mitigate the spread of this virus. We had a COVID-19 protocol meeting last month to talk about a few items. We will have one additionally this month. That will be most likely next week. In terms of fatalities, unfortunately, the month of January, there were 3 afternoon-related fatalities and 3 training-related. All have been sent for necropsies, and necropsy reviews will be scheduled shortly. We have an equine safety meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact, to discuss our continued efforts to mitigate these unfortunate incidents.
Thank you. I have Mr. Francia signed to speak on this.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. First of all, about gratitude to former Chairman Gouret for his commitment to the Commission and in guiding it through very challenging times. At the same time, congratulations, Chairman Coolidge, for your new role in the Commission. Pretty much what Mr. Stiles has mentioned is right on target. Track safety for me begins every day with coronavirus-related matters, that all the protocols that we have been using are in place, and that involves a number of different things, from checking with my department heads, especially security, about temperature checks, wristbands, things like that, to the cleaning staff. Are the dispensers out? Are they filled? Things like that. So that's where everything starts. The ongoing situation with the restrooms in the backside will continue, and we will continue to address them. And I think at the heart of that problem is we have one section of our stable area, A through D, that was put in 1956, whereas the K-row was put in the 70s. And so the K-row section benefited from the advance in technology. I think what the A through D sections, some of those sections are suffering from is probably underground matters that we can't dig up right now. We have horses on the grounds, and it's something we would have to look at for the summer. Outside of that, everything Mr. Stiles has mentioned about the equine wellness meetings and things like that. The current immediate problem we experienced yesterday is geese on the turf course. That is an ongoing problem, although the numbers of geese have decreased from a high of over 200 to we have under 100 right now. But I'm working with the federal Fish and Game Department. We're getting ready to bring in some swan decoys. Believe it or not, they have an impact on the geese. Apparently, the two species don't get along. Trainers are lending us their dogs after the races at night to chase them. It makes the geese feel uncomfortable. They don't like it. But yesterday, we had 3 turf races, and in 2 of the 3 turf races, geese were present while the races were going on. Now, the procedure there is when we have a turf race, the 3 stewards have the turf course under their binoculars. So if they spot any geese out there, they're alerting the starter to delay the start or something like that. But part of the success story that we have had in getting our grass to grow, it has grown so high, so thick, that if a goose is sitting down in that grass, you're not going to be able to see it. And one popped up yesterday when a race was over with the field of horses trying to pull up. So we do have geese chasers out there. We're going to amplify that. I'm going to be out there today, members of my staff, to make sure, because this is a safety issue. Geese and horses racing are incompatible. So that's everything from me. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Sir.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question for Mr. Stiles, or I guess it would be for Greg. Being involved in greyhound adoption for years, now that I have all this free time, not being the chair anymore, one of the things I eventually want to do is immerse myself into horse adoption. Is there any way we can get kind of a monthly update how we're doing on the adoption effort of the horses? I've been seeing on the one board they'll be listing horses that are available, so I was just wondering if there's a way we can kind of find out how we are stacking up with horse adoption here in Arizona.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Gray, we can certainly do that. The racing division has also put together a legacy project called the HEART program, which is Horses Earn Aftercare, Retirement, and Tenderness. We will be providing you an update on that program in future commission meetings. I also have an item to where later on in this meeting talking about the grant program that is available to aftercare organizations.
Thank you.
Great. We'll move on to item D2, budget reports. Director Casillas.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Jason, are you on?
Yes, I am. I'll take care of it, Director Casillas. Chairman, Commissioners, this is Jason LaForest from staff. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected all industry stakeholders in their unique and profound ways. The agency is no exception. That being said, without live racing, we were able to limit our costs in the first 7 months of the year, where we spent about $822,000 of our $2.3 million budget. So we have more than enough spending appropriation to get us to the end of June and this fiscal year. That being said, without live racing, we've seen a sharp decline in our revenue like many other stakeholders in the industry, and we're projecting a loss of $400,000 this year. Obviously, that amount is not enough to put the division at risk of being a going concern, but it might impact future ability to find innovative and health and safety programs through the legislative process going forward.
Understood. Thank you. Any questions or comments from my commissioners? We'll move to item D3, adoption grants. Mr. Stiles?
Yes, Chairman Coolidge, members of the Racing Commission. Each year, the Division of Racing makes a call to aftercare and adoption agencies in the state, making them aware of a grant program available to them to help fund their organizations. The monies in the program come from the 5% surcharge fees that are tacked on to the rulings at all Arizona racetracks. Additionally, now that we have the 1% Breeder Reward program, the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association made a contribution to the fund of the program recently. So we thank them for this contribution. Usually the commission awards the grants in their April commission meeting. As you know, last year, COVID-19, we were unable to award that money. So this is a call for all Arizona horse aftercare organizations to apply for the grant. Grant applications, I believe, are on the division's website at racing.az.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stiles. Before we go into D4, just a note to my fellow commissioners, this isn't an action item, this is just an information report. And I do have Tom and Dave author before we go into the interim report. I'll go ahead and open it up to y'all first.
Yeah, we don't really have anything to add. I spoke with Director Casillas yesterday, and he indicated that there would be no official report at all from the investigators. That was going to be delivered to the commissioners, and we would hopefully receive a copy when the report was completed, and then we would deal with that per the action item, which was was coming up on 30 days. So we haven't seen the report. We don't know what the accountants will recommend one way or another, and as far as we're concerned, we should move on, allow us to review it, and then we'll report to you at the next meeting.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Otter. Mr. Linscott, I'll hand it off to you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, it's informational only at this point. We have sent a draft to Mr. Estrada and his office to review. We got great cooperation from his folks to move through the process. On a high level, it's consistent with what we were seeing before with some losses. Those losses are being funded and worked out through an agreement with ELS Gaming. You'll have more detail when you get the actual report, but that is ready and should be fully dealt with at the March meeting.
Appreciate it. We'll move to item D5 for the committee reports, American Greyhound Racing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, I have no update this month, but I would like to thank you for your approval of our permit application and also of the Arena Leisure Limited simulcast signal. Would also just like to echo Mr. Francia's comment earlier to former Chairman Gray on behalf of AGR. We appreciate your dedication and support of both the greyhound and horse racing industry during your time as chair. We also congratulate and welcome new Chairman Coolidge. We look forward to continuing to working with you and the other members of the Commission. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. 5B, Arizona Downs.
Okay, I think you can hear me, can't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. First, want to thank Rory for his many years of service and congratulate. If Chuck thinks this is congratulations worthy, that on his new position. I also want to thank Commissioners Hover and Profiter for hanging in there and doing such a great job. And you probably have this to look forward to maybe next time around. Who knows? But anyway, as far as our report, everything's going fine up at the track. We are. Leroy Guessman could probably add a little more color to this, but we have either made a deal on a meet with the horsemen or are very close. But again, I'll defer to Leroy for his interpretation on that. We're happy that we're getting the signal from Turf after these many weeks of working on that. So we were able to come together on that. So anyway, that's I think. Really all there is to report. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Mr. Arlington. We'll go to 5C, County Fairs. Move on to Rito Park.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Claudia on behalf of Rito. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to update. Obviously, we're not running right now because of Pima County is really tight right now with COVID. But we are in touch with the county, and we're looking to apply for later dates. Hopefully, by this fall, we should have something. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tucson Greyhound Park.
Hi there. It's Alicia here, and I ditto the sentiments of both our American Greyhound Racing and Arizona Downs. And thank you, Rory, and congratulations, Chuck. And I'm just really happy that we're still making it here. On one note, that there was a question why American Greyhound Racing's permit was so delayed in being approved. You'll also have Tucson Greyhound Park's permit following right behind, as we had put in all our paperwork at the end of 2019. So just so that the Commission is aware of that. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Turf Paradise, Mr. Francia.
Thank you, Chairman Coolidge. A quick review of where we stand after 5 weeks of the 16-week race meet, handle-wise, and I'll be brief. The total handle is up 8%. That's everything, simulcast and live and everything we do. Rounding numbers off at 50 million compared to 46 million. Out-of-state handle has been very robust. It's up 17%, 41 million as compared to 35. And to give you an example of what the horse players do when, due to the coronavirus and they're having difficulties going to their favorite OTB or on track, ADW wagering, which is phone wagering, is up 117%, 2.4 million as compared to 1.1. So that aspect of everything is healthy. And also discussions have now begun with Mr. Sims and the HBPA onto what the next race meet may look like. So all of this is positive. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a comment I just wanted to make regarding Turf Paradise. It's not on my behalf, but I just wanted to say from what I've seen, great communications, Vince, that you've been putting out on the One Arizona Horsemen's Board, and I think the men and women on the backside really appreciate your weekly updates.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Goray. It's something I learned from being mayor of Cave Creek. When you're a general manager or a mayor and you're making decisions that one person is making and you're affecting many, it's best to keep them informed of what you're doing and why you're doing it and when it's being done and why you came to those conclusions. So, yes, it's been helpful for the horsemen and for us.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We'll move to E1 on commission reports, summary of events affecting the Arizona Racing Commission, ARS 38-431-02K. Any commission members or the director need to say anything?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Any matters?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but you missed the optional industry stakeholder.
Yeah, we missed the optional industry stakeholder.
D6A.
We'll go to D6, Option Industry Stakeholders Association updates, Arizona Counties Racing Association. We're going to do Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. One of the author brothers assigned to speak on this if necessary. Do you need to speak on this?
No.
Otherwise, we'll go to Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association. Horsemen's Benevolent Protective Association.
Yes, Chairman Cooley, Leroy Gussman with the Arizona HBPA. I want to congratulate you on your position and thank Mr. Garay for all his years of service. I just want to say the Arizona Downs, where the horsemen are excited about the possibility of there being a race meet there. We have had contract negotiations, and we currently have contracts at both attorneys to review. That's kind of where that's at. The race meet at Turf Paradise, as Mr. Francia stated, has been going fairly well. Yes, there's been a few work orders, but I will say that Mr. Francia, on the whole, is gets them done in a timely manner, and things have been going fairly well here. I did, Commissioner Garay, want to address the aftercare. Just so you know, there are, I believe, four aftercare facilities in Arizona that are certified by the Thoroughbred Aftercare on the national level, and that's quite a process they have to go through to be certified, but I do believe there's four that are certified. We as horsemen, we collect $1 per start, and we split that up amongst those aftercare facilities and give them some money when needed. So I want you to know there is some things going on with the aftercare. It's not as quite as good as the HEART program that Greg had talked about, but we're working on it, and we hope to get to the level of HEART that goes at Prairie Meadows. It's a great program, and they do a lot of good. I have nothing else unless there's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gussman. Any questions? Okay, we'll move to E2. Do I have any commissioners that would like to place any items on future agendas?
I think, did we skip over the E-Jockeys Guild?
Man, I'm not giving them any love today. So we'll do 6E Jockeys Guild. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
Any items to be placed on future agendas? Otherwise, we'll move to call to the public. Looks like I have J.D. Fox, who's signed in to speak. Reminder, you only have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Coolidge. Can commissioners hear me okay?
Yes.
I want to bring one thing to the attention based on this meeting and the previous meeting in relation to the Greyhound signal authorizations and bringing in international racing from the Greyhound breed into Arizona. One of the mentions that was made was that these were easily accessible signals via Roberts Communication, and this is a true statement. I think one of the things that we may be missing on, however, is we've talked a lot about the Monarch situation, but signals available to Arizona horse players are more limited than pretty much any state in the country. We do not have harness racing signals going into the state at all, and we do not have international signals outside of those that are provided via Australia, and right now only part of Australia with what's available via Sky Racing World. So, to give an example, North American signals that were available yesterday were 37. As an Arizona horse player, you had the ability to bet on 11 of those tracks. Only 2 of those 37 were subject to the Monarch situation. So if we are, as a commission and as a state, looking into adding international signals to replace American signals in the Greyhound sector of the business, I think it's only fair that we do the same due diligence and look at opportunities for. And right now, anything we can pump through the state, obviously, percentages vary depending on the signal and so on and so forth. But anything that's available to the bettor to bet on is best for the state. So I appreciate the time and congratulations, Commissioner Coolidge, and thank you guys.
You're on mute. Chuck, you're on mute.
There we go. Move to G, announcements. The next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 11th, 2021 at 1110 West Washington, or likely on Google Meets, and is subject to change based on the quorum. After that, I'll move to adjourn.
No, we still have item B, executive session for 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, excuse me. Move to item B, executive session. 1, Monarch Management LLC versus Department of Gaming.
Is that the federal one?
Yes.
I believe that's still, or no, wait, that is. I thought there is. Is there an update on that? I think I saw her. Was he here? Yeah, is Pat here?
I don't see either Pat or Charles Markle on, who are the attorneys for the firm representing the state on.
Pat is on.
Is he?
Commissioners, since we got to this one fairly quickly, I just emailed Pat to let him know that we had gotten to executive session. So if you want to move to either 2 or 3, you can certainly do that, or wait until Mr. Irvin is on the call.
Do any of the commissioners wish to go to executive session on 2 or 3?
Commissioners, I would indicate that I do need to advise you on number 3.
Right. I move to go into executive session.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion from Chair Coolidge to go into executive session on item is B1 and a second by Commissioner Hover. So,
Ms. Goodwin, that is actually on B3.
Oh, B3. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I skipped ahead and somebody was texting me. Okay, thank you. So B3, Commissioner Coolidge made a motion to go into executive session. Commissioner Hover seconded. Roll call. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter? Yes. Thank you. The time is 11:22 a.m. and we are going into the third executive session. This open session is recessed. Okay, I am not seeing, is Rory on here? Yes, Rory is. Okay, I see that we have all our commissioners back into the open session. This is Commission Secretary Cassie Goodwin. I will bring in the fourth open session of the 684th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place February 11th, 2021 via Google Meet. Commissioner Coolidge?
Right.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Profiter? Here. Okay, we have our quorum. It's your meeting, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We are going to do this a little bit backwards, so bear with me on it. We're on item B, Executive Session 3, Arizona Downs LLC versus Arizona Racing Commission. I'm going to go ahead and motion to provide authority to the Arizona Department of Gaming attorney to proceed with the stipulated language for the motion to dismiss.
I'll second.
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover? I'm sorry, say it again on the record, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Profiter? Yes. Thank you. That motion made by Commissioner Coolidge and seconded by Commissioner Gray to give the Attorney General's office authority to proceed with the motion to dismiss is carried.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm also going to make an additional motion to proceed as discussed in the executive session.
I will second that.
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Profiter? Yes. Thank you. That motion carries.
We will go up one, so it would be B2, Monarch Content Management LLC versus Arizona Department of Gaming. Kelly, do you have any update?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I believe that one is the state one that you mentioned earlier. We have no update on, so I think it'd be item 1.
Yes, sir. I was just making sure that we were rolling in through the process.
And Chair Coolidge, there is nothing to update on the state matter. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Otherwise, I would move that we go to executive session on item B1, Monarch Content Management versus Arizona Department of Gaming.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to go into executive session on B1. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter? Yes. Thank you. That motion carries, and this fourth open session of the Arizona Racing Commission meeting is in recess at 11:42 a.m. I'll see you folks in the executive session. Thank you. We're back in on this meeting. With that in mind, Commission Secretary Cassie Goodwin will proceed with reconvening the fifth open session of the 684th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place February 11th, 2021. The time is 11:47. Roll call. Commissioner Coolidge. Chuck, you're on mute. Thank you. Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Hover.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Profiter. Here. Thank you. We have our quorum. It's your meeting, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move to item H, adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
I would say Commissioner Profiter beat you to that, Commissioner Hover. Okay. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Hover?
Yes.
Commissioner Profiter?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion to adjourn carries. It's 11:48 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye.